Hey, wake up.
Oh, sorry. Must have zoned out.
We're back, and it's time to get your game on. So bring it or go home crying. We are NBC Sports Radio, and our game never stops.
NBC Sports Radio and NBCSportsRadio.com got a great mobile app we would love for you to check out. It's free at the Google Play Store, the App Store, wherever you like to get the stuff for your mobile device. And it's free. Did I mention that? Good morning. Jim Daniels in for the PFT guys. They're on special holiday assignment this Memorial Day. The show is brought to you by Grainger, serving you with the products you need to help keep your facility running. Call, click, or stop by today. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. We turn now to our Harvard-educated Rick Horrow, the professor, as we like to call him. And right off the top here, Professor, I've got to say this. I'm looking at the Horrow Sports Brief this morning, and a new bill working its way through Congress could maybe get signed into law and give golfers a way to write off their golfing expenses. Tell me that's true.
Let me tell you something. In all of the time we've been together on all of our shows, this may be the most important bit of information I ever give, not only the listeners, but you, too.
That's in 15 years, too. That's really saying something, so go ahead.
It's saying a lot. So the bill is called PHIT. It's Personal Health and Investment Today. It's aimed at encouraging Americans to get off the couch and invest in physical fitness. And $1,000 for an individual or $2,000 for the head of a household for driving range expenses, golf balls, clubs, other things, instruction. Well, it hasn't passed yet, but the consideration is that most recent physical activity participation report says 81 million Americans are considered inactive. I don't know which ones they didn't find inactive, and they say that a sedentary, out-of-shape American costs the healthcare system much more than fit taxpayers, so they may be giving us an incentive. Now, please, Congress, get this done. I'm going to the golf course right now. You think it'll get done in the next 20 minutes?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen in the next 20 minutes, but I tell you what, if it happens in the next 20 months, there's going to be a bunch of happy guys in this country, and you and I are a couple of them, right?
Drinking expenses? That's lifting an arm.
It's a 12-ounce curl, right? That's what we call that.
Yeah, you and I will testify before Congress, pal. I need to go first, though.
Yeah, you go first. I'll want to follow you. All right, we are in for PFT, so let's talk a little pro football. Pro Football Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott, as well as former NFLer Rodney Peete, and a group of investors are preparing a bid to help build the Raiders a new stadium. We were talking about this early on this morning. You know, with the San Francisco 49ers moving to Santa Clara, the Raiders would be the only pro football team actually in the Bay Area. It seems odd that they're not able to get the money for this, but, I mean, maybe Ronnie Lott and Rodney Peete are the guys to get this done, yeah?
Well, if they have a spare $200 million up to $1 billion lying around, then bring it on. I mean, it's odd unless you are in the business and consider the fact that Alameda County Coliseum complex holds the Oracle Arena, where the Warriors are leaving, and the A's who want to leave, and the Raiders who will leave, probably. Then you realize the history hasn't been that great. It's a great site, 120 acres. Everybody knows it. And Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, though, does make it clear that she wants to deal directly with the Raiders when it comes to the Coliseum process, not third parties. If a deal's not reached by September, the door open for the Raiders to strike an agreement to relocate in Vegas, and then Mark Davis says that the Silver State it becomes the Silver Black State. All of a sudden, Mark Davis and the Raiders have a lot more options than they might have before, including going back to Levi's and sharing with the Niners. We're not hearing about a lot of that, but that might still be on the table.
Yeah, it might be on the table, but I don't think that the fans, I don't think a whole lot of people are into that. Of course, I don't think Jet and Giant fans were into it back in the day when they decided, we're building this thing called the Meadowlands, and we want you to share it. How about this? Talking about the Raiders going to the Silver State, Oakview Group. The CEO, Tim Lewicki, has been hired as a consultant by the Oakland Raiders, Majestic Realty, and the Las Vegas Sands Corporation to help get that team moved into Las Vegas. I mean, they're proceeding. I mean, honestly, Rick, 15 years ago when you and I first started doing stuff, if we talked about that, if I'd asked about the NFL going to Vegas, you would have laughed hysterically. Now it looks like it could happen maybe in a couple of years.
Well, the race to get to Vegas as the first pro team may be happening in the next couple of weeks. There are rumors. Trust me. We'll be on again. We'll talk about that. But it may involve the NHL expansion process, and everybody wants to be the first in Vegas. But the bottom line of this stadium, hosting 50 or 60 events a year to preseason, a regular season, UNLV, special games, the Lewicki deal isn't as important as who hired him. It's a combo of the Raiders, Majestic Realty, and the Sands Corp. So they're all in it together to try to make it work. And frankly, Oakland has a shot, as they and they haven't done it yet.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens there, but we also know that Carolyn Goodman, the mayor of Las Vegas, has said on a couple of occasions that she and her husband have been 30 years season ticket holders for the San Diego Chargers, friends with the Spanos family, and they would welcome the idea of the San Diego Chargers moving there as well. Do the Raiders have a leg up because they're earlier in on this, or is this really still pretty much wide open in Vegas?
Isn't it ironic? Because, a year ago when the Rams deal was done, we said that the Raiders were out of options. Now they may be one step ahead in Vegas, just like the Chargers are one step ahead in L.A. When you take a look at the deal that was cut with the Rams move. So they have that option. They also look at San Diego as a first referendum. But the Raiders may have an option. They're looking at Vegas as the first shot of keeping them. And the NFL has done it again, meaning they've got the leverage game working to their benefit.
Rick Horrow is the professor. We talk the business, the deal-making of sports with Rick frequently here on NBC Sports Radio, as well as NBC Universal. The NFL has announced the 2019, 2020, and 21 Super Bowls will be played at Atlanta, Miami, and Los Angeles, respectively. That absolutely is a surprise to no one, considering to the size of the checks that people have to write. Boy, you have to write a pretty big check to the league, and the list of their demands kind of looks like a writer for a rock band, doesn't it?
No, because you don't get the extra pickles and Bloody Mary and tequila juice in the green room.
And red M&Ms, yeah.
Right. Yeah, red M&Ms. But everything else you get, and I am really surprised over the weekend. You listen to some of the patter from the mindless folks that say this is extortion. Well, guess what? If you're building a facility and you're talking about $800 million of economic impact, and you say here is what you're going to get long term, well, you're darn right. If L.A. and Atlanta put up huge expenses, public and private, and Steve Ross comes out of pocket for $400 million for Miami, you're going to get the benefit of this. And by the way, the team doesn't get the benefit as much as the community. So they're all in it together.
Yeah, indeed they are. Now, we hear that New York is saying that they want the Super Bowl to come back there. I mean, historically, it's been a place that goes to good weather, but with the new stadiums and that, I think they kind of dodged a bullet by going to New York and not having the weather ruin everybody's Super Bowl weekend. What are the chances of New York getting the Super Bowl back in the next 5-6 years?
Farmer's Almanac says 2026, it's going to be a humongous cataclysmic snowstorm on February 6th. So, yeah, the answer is nobody knows. And every deal that I've ever worked on with the NFL gets a stadium, as long as it's domed in colder weather, or they take a shot like in New York. They get one shot at a deal. Look at Indianapolis, look at Minnesota, look at Detroit, and then they may come back again. And if with a new stadium, Minnesota, second time, second stadium. Detroit, second time, second stadium. Mm-hmm. And so the bottom line is it's payback, but it's legitimate payback because the economic impact is there. And then you have all the cold weather cities that want a shot at this: Washington, Philly, New York, Boston, Chicago. If you give it to one, it opens the Pandora's box for others. So it'll be an interesting dynamic past the current selection of the deals that are 2021 and beyond.
All right, I want to bring this story up because this is really a great feel-good thing. Longtime Turner Sports NBA reporter Craig Sager is going to receive the 2016 Jimmy V Perseverance Award, honoring his ongoing battle with leukemia. I think this is pretty well known by NBA fans. Sags has been looking really good on the sidelines with some of those jackets. I don't know if he's getting those from you or where he's getting those things, but congratulations to Craig Sager. I mean, it's a courageous fight, what this guy is up against and what the doctors have told him. And he says, you know what, forget about that. It's not getting in my way. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to get in front of television. I'm going to wear this jacket and do my thing. Hats off to Craig Sager. Congratulations on that Jimmy V Award, right?
Yes, and I'd be honored to give him my wild jackets. He's got his own thing going. He met Jimmy V in 91 in the Pan Am Games, and he has his speech on his cell phone. He plays it in the hospital when he's feeling down, he says, and it's just an amazing story. Everybody's pulling for him, obviously.
This one off the Horrow Sports Brief that I want to bring up this morning, too. This is a beautiful thing. Music junkies have James Corden's Carpool Karaoke. If you're a comedy fan, Jerry Seinfeld's got comedians in cars getting coffee. But if you want to eavesdrop on tennis fans have The Road to Roland Garros. Tell us about this.
Yeah, a partnership between Peugeot and the French Open. Pretty good TV. Former French star Gustavo Kuerten gets backseat confessions from players on the way to the tournament. They got to talk because they're in that car. Kevin Anderson learning Stairway to Heaven. Joe Wilfred Tsonga about his ballet skills. By the way, they're not good. And Kierton also revealed to Novak Djokovic the secret to playing well on clay. He says it's all in the hair. Well, Globecast, the longtime Roland Garros partner, in cooperation with France TV, distributing these on YouTube. The only thing I want to say is vignettes that are creative are really important to marketing, especially with big tournaments. So kudos to those guys. Great
stuff, as usual, from the professor, Rick Horrow. Thanks so much for being with us this morning on this Memorial Monday. Have a great holiday, my friend.
You hear this, IRS? I'm going to play golf right now.
Hit him straight, pal. More to come. It's PFT on NBC.